All right, we are going to be making this M&M project. We are going to be using geometry nodes. There's going to be no simulating, yet we're not going to have intersections, which is really, really nice. So I'll show you how to create, non-intersecting particles without simulations, and geometry nodes makes our life easy. And it's really not a very big node tree. So let's dive into it. So let's start up with a blank document, and I'm just going to bring over a new window and get a plane. He's going to hold our geo nodes, and let's get this started. So I'm going to drop down and get the geometry nodes editor. I'm going to hit in. We're going to get a new scene. So the first thing we need to get is a string to curves node. String to curves is our text node essentially. So we're just going to let's put in ABC. I put ABC in because this gives us a couple things that helps us with legibility. If you can read these, you'll be able to read any word. And then let's align this to the center and to the middle. And then I'm going to hit RX90 on that just to align it the way I want to see it. And then we're going to give it a size of 5. And then open up whatever font you want to use. Now, you can use really any font. I highly recommend something like Helvetica or something bold, like maybe like this one or this one. I don't know what comes default with your computer. Like this guy would be great. I'm going to use Silka. This is the brand font for Ducky 3D. It is a paid font, but I would just go ahead and download Helvetica or something that looks similar to this. And if you can find a black one, so you have like bold, semi-bold. Black is like the most bold it can be. You really want that if you want to have this full looking letter. So go ahead and just pick whatever font you want to use. And then we're going to get a fill curve. And then we need to give this guy some thickness. So we're going to get a extrude mesh. Do something like this. And this is where you can decide how, because this is the M&Ms are going to fill this. So like how many, how wide, it doesn't, entirely matter because you can change that later. And you'll notice the back is open. What you can do is, let's see, we'll get a join geometry. And what happens with the extrude mesh is it takes this front face and pushes it forward. So you can kind of replace it by taking this fill curve and throwing it into the join geometry. Now it does not connect it. It's just sitting there. So if you tried to bevel this, it wouldn't work. This side would bevel because it is connected. And so that doesn't solve the problem, but visually and for this project, it does solve the problem. So, and let's go ahead and turn it into a volume. So we'll get a mesh to volume, and I'm going to show you a problem. So if we bring up our density, you'll see this just looks super bad. And that is because my guess is because of this thing that we just did where we tried to solidify it because it's not connected. It's not respecting it as connected. So the way I solved the problem was by realizing the instances, rasterizing it. Then it kind of recognizes it as a full thing. It'll respect it. And then you can bring up your voxel amount to kind of get it to be a little bit more fine. And then now we can start instancing stuff. And so we're going to go ahead, we're going to get a distribute points in volume node and bring up that density. You can start to read the letter. So now is a good time to model our M&M. And it is shockingly easy to model an M&M. What you'll do is take this UV sphere. I'm just going to move them over here. And I'm going to hit tab, right click and subdivide it once, and then bring up the smoothing. And then all you have to do is take scale and do that. Now you can reference like how squished an M&M is, but I've eaten hundreds and thousands of them in my life. I'd like to think I'm a professional on how an M&M is supposed to look. So now we have that, and we can use it as our model, as our thing. So we'll just call him Yum, and we can go here, and now we have points, right? We need to put something on the points. So we'll get a instance on points right here, and then we'll plug Yum into instance. And then right down here, you can click and drag and bring that scale down until we see this. And of course, I need to apply scale. All right, there we go. So now we have a bunch of M&Ms, and they're all facing one way. So we do want to have randomly rotated M&Ms. So what we'll do is get a random value node, and we're going to switch this over to vector, plug this into rotation, and then I do want my viewport to look nice, so we add cavity and shadow. All right, so we have this, and what you can do is just click and drag and bring them this way, and then click and drag and bring them this way. Now you have all fun and full randomness. And then I'm going to do 0.05 on the scale. That's what I did in my original animation. And then you can now go ahead and play with your density and play with your voxel amount. Your interior bandwidth really thickens it up. But you'll notice, let me turn off shadow. I think it's making my scene slow. Look at the amount of intersection. Like see that, see that, see that. It's pretty gross how much intersection is happening. And even if we bring our bandwidth out a little bit, you're still going to get just so much to where if you want to do like a close-up render on this, it would pretty much look really, really bad. How do we solve this in geometry nodes? It's going to be with a fun node called merge by distance. It's shockingly simple. One node is going to solve this problem for us. So we're going to get a value node here because we are going to be stacking these. So let's get a merge by distance node, put it right after the distribute points in volume. And then I'm going to give myself a value of 0.040. That's what I used in my original piece. You plug that there, and it will pretty much solve about 95% of it. So you can, like, this guy's intersecting here, but about 95% of the intersection is going to be solved. So if you look at this, if we remove it, so if we just go ahead and do a before and after, remove it, tons of intersections, see that, see all of this mess, and then we can put it back, and lots of, there is intersection. There still is. It isn't perfect, but I mean, look at all these guys. So many of them are just living their best life. And you can adjust this to be less. So basically the closer to zero you are, the more chances you're going to get intersection. So if you do something like this, well, you're not going to have any intersection at all because it's giving so much distance between each point. So you really are riding the line of how much risk are you willing to take on this. So like this looks good. I'm not seeing any intersection at all right there. So this is really the fun part. And then you can bring that bandwidth back in and it's still really going to have some fun with it. But this is the part where you can go in and play with it and adjust it. But if you want to get a better, essentially merge by distance algorithm, you can stack merge by distance. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, plug him into geometry and value into distance. And then I'm going to go ahead and get two more. And so plug him into the green and then plug gray into the gray. And then we'll do one more. And this is just going to give you a better result. And then we'll plug him into points. And it's going to give you a better, much more accurate merge by distance algorithm, according to what I've read online. So this is now, you can see, especially from a bird's eye perspective, no intersection. I mean, these guys are just living their life, going all the way out here. It looks awesome. It's totally, totally legible. Now we can go ahead and add a texture, add your logo or your name or your face to your M&Ms. All right, so I'm using Photoshop for this. You can use whatever image program you want, or you can even use Blender, where you can take your logo, add an emissive material to it, black background, and then render that out in Eevee just to make it super quick and easy. You can use text, you can use a picture of your face, really whatever you want to do. But what I did was I created a document that was 6,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels. That was probably much more than I needed, but I just wanted to play it safe. And then make your logo right about this size within your document, or anything you want to add to it. I keep saying that, but he's here, and then I just went ahead and exported out a PNG. But it's a PNG with black and white. There's no transparency in it. PNG just being high quality. And then I'm gonna hit the tilde key and go to the top, and I'm gonna switch this over to the shader editor. And then I'm gonna go to Eevee, click new. And then with the Node Wrangler add-on, I'm gonna hit Control T, and I'm gonna open up my logo. So he's right here, and he's gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Tab, see, view my vertices. I'm gonna hit U and project from view, and that is gonna line our logo up, pretty close, and then we could just move him with the mapping node to, whatever center you want. We can make him a little bit bigger, I think. Now, if you're trying to make the legit real M&Ms, your color needs to be accurate. So what I Googled was M&M color hex codes, and that's going to bring you, it should give you the Color Wall website, and you can quite literally just take the hex code straight from M&M corporate and plug it into a color ramp. So I'm going to go get a color ramp, plug it right there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and flip the color ramp so the logo is white. And then in the black portion, go to the hex, paste that in, and then before we start duplicating, I'm going to bring my roughness right about here. That's kind of about how glossy a regular M&M is. Like I said, I've eaten thousands of these. I should know what I'm talking about. And then go ahead and duplicate 6 of them, because that's how many colors are in the M&M family. And then go ahead and start either, doing your own custom colors or getting these colors. Now, each one, you're going to have to go up here, see where it says 6, click that, and then go ahead and paste it so that you're not getting duplicates. Click on this guy, click new, and then you can change the color. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in all of the hex codes for each of my M&Ms. All right, here we go. We are done. We can head back to geometry nodes. And here's the fun part. So right now we just see a bunch of yellow M&Ms. And what you need to do is go ahead and highlight these guys. Hit M, new collection. I'm going to call it M and M. So that's our new collection. And then we can click back on geometry nodes. And right here where we have our object, which is the one yum, we have all of our yums. We can go ahead and just drag in the collection info. And this is our new object. And what we'll do is just click on separate children and reset children and plug it into instance. And it's going to show us just one of them. So what you need to do is click pick instance, and like magic, it is going to add in all of our M&Ms in their wonderful glory. So I'm going to go ahead and just give myself the letter C for this final lighting section. Of course, it's a lowercase c. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and add a simple background, add some lighting, and call it a day. We'll be finished here. So I'm going to move him over, and then we can just remove that. So now we're ready. We have this whole thing. We're going to go ahead and get a plane, bring him, far enough back. Something like this. And I'm going to hit the tilde key and go to the front, get a camera. I'm going to give my resolution at 2000. And then just bring it back a little bit, and I'm hit 0. Now we have our C. I'm going to scale up this guy to fit. And let's go ahead and get some rendering. You can use Eevee if you'd like. I'm going to use cycles for my lighting and for my final render. So I'm going to hit Shift A and get an area light. Bring it up. Scale it as like a soft top light. And then do something like that. And then bring him more over here. There we go. So that should be nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Shift D. And then G to move it over. I'm going to hit S. And then right over here, I'm going to switch it over to a disk and then hit R twice. I'm going to kind of bring it over. I'm hitting G and R for rotations. So now it's doing that. And then I'm going to bring my spread down so you can kind of see how that works. So just makes the beam a little bit softer, and then, a little smaller, and then you can just kind of adjust your brightness based on that. So now we have our lighting. The background is going to be simple enough. Let's go ahead and open up a shading window. I'm gonna get a new material, and then we're gonna switch over to a emission. We just want a white background with some gradient. So we have our white background, and then we can get in a color ramp, gradient texture, and then hit Control T on that gradient texture. So we can get that object, gradient, and plug that into color. There we go. Now we have a fun little gradient that we can now, gonna rotate it 90 degrees, and then now we have to stretch it out. So what I'm gonna do is switch over to B-spline so we can have a really soft gradient. You just kind of eyeball it. Right here in the middle is probably the best looking one. And then the X location is gonna bring it up. But I wanna stretch it. Which one stretches? Oh, here. The Y axis on the scale, that ought to stretch it out a little bit. And then bring up your brightness a little bit, like this. Very subtle gradient, but it does, I don't know, it does make a difference, I think. And then, you know, if you want, you can have fun and make it whatever color you want. Oh, that actually looks pretty sweet. I'm going to give it a slight, something like that might work. And there we have it. We have a finished M&M. If you happen to want to animate it, I'm going to hop over to geometry nodes. If you do want to animate this, the easiest thing to do that also looks super good is animating the random value node that's plugged into the rotations. You can just pick what the min or the max and just do something like this. That will animate it quite nicely. Or you can go to the, where is it at? The density. You can animate the density in, and the voxel amount. I forget which one I did originally. No, that's not it. Oh, here we go. Or you can animate this in like that. All of these are kind of animatable components. My favorite being the random value. That just, to me, looks the best. And yeah, that is it. We are finished. We have this really cool M&M scene without, you know, a crap ton of intersection, and you can adjust that as well. So there you go. Thanks for watching. You can get the project file for this attached to this post, and I'll see you in the next one.